All right, everybody, and welcome to a unique episode that I'm doing this time around. I wanted to make a tier list for the Royal Rumble, but a little interesting twist because I don't think I've seen anything really on this aside from maybe like a handful of stuff. But the Iron Men and the Iron Women of each Royal Rumble that we've had, I wanted to rank them based off of not necessarily their performance in the Rumble, but what that meant, how that translated from being the Iron Person in the Rumble and how their year went subsequently after the Rumble, or even a little bit before the Rumble, where they were, and then after the Rumble, they were picked to be the Iron Man, or in this case, or in some cases, the Iron Woman. Most recently, I wanted to see how their year went and see how that translates. So for that, I wanted to rank and kind of, see what's going on, see if they got a push, see what happened, and things along that nature. I have them separated into rankings. The S tier is to the moon. So basically, because of that position, they had a chance to get pushed to the moon. They had the rocket strapped to them. A solid push. They kind of did it. They had a pretty decent push. They were in some sort of title picture or whatever. B, flirted with a good time. Because of that Iron Man, Iron Woman role, they flirted with a good time. They were shown, they were on TV, things along that nature. C, improvement. If it was just a jobber or whatever, we don't really have any real jobbers in this one, though. When it comes to the Iron Man, aside from maybe like Vince or something like that. But no real jobbers per se. But if there was some sort of improvement throughout the year, that they would be put into the C tier, and then D, jobs out to Hogan. Basically, any of the jobbers, anybody that basically just jobbed out, even though they got that position, they wound up jobbing out eventually and didn't really perform too well or weren't put in a position to do well. Now, some factors, and these are going to be loose, it's just a tier list, nothing crazy. But some factors that kind of come into play. WrestleMania moments. Did you get a championship match at WrestleMania? That's going to count as well. That's going to count big time. Main event at WrestleMania, too, any sort of highlights like that. Were they in some sort of championship contention for the bigger titles, your main titles, your heavyweight title, Intercontinental, possibly even the United States, those second tier titles? In some cases, you might see the European title, you'll see the hardcore title. So I'll factor all of that stuff in. Tag team title, right? I'd put in that sort of, even though it's the main title for the tag teams, I'll put that in sort of like the first or second ish type tier role. So that's what I wanted to do. You have some certain factors that kind of come into play. So it should be pretty fun, and let's see what's going on. Now, this is from the beginning, 1988. I'm not counting the greatest Royal Rumble because that's not a traditional Royal Rumble. That was just meant for Saudi Arabia. Although give it its respect, whatever. But I'm not counting it in this case, and I'm not counting any sort of TV type 20-man Royal Rumbles or whatever. Because if that's the case, then I'll just be here all day, recording stuff. And this took a lot of time to do, making the tier list and whatnot. And what I'll do each time is I'll introduce the person, talk a little bit about them and their record at that year, and see where it happens. Of course, the most recent ones being Gunther and Rhea Ripley, as of the recording of this video, which is the 4th of February, the jury's out at this moment, whatever they're going to wind up doing throughout the year. But I'll still kind of, since they're more recent, I'll give an overall estimation based off their performances leading up, what they've done, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll kind of go from there and see what happens. Now, we'll start with, it's in order, as you see on the screen. So we'll start from 88 and then make our way down. Now, 1988, the Royal Rumble was won by Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I believe this was sort of chill Royal Rumble. I think there were 20 men, and it was kind of a test, one of those early incarnations of the Royal Rumble. Bret Hart in 88 didn't do too bad. He was in the tag title picture a lot. Of course, he was teaming with Jim Neidhart as well, and this is 1988, so they were they were pretty much in there. He did have a match at WrestleMania, but it was basically like it was a battle royal. He was kind of cemented in the tag picture. He did win a lot though. Didn't really lose too much because see a whole bunch of wins, a couple of dark matches, firmly in the tag title picture. Not yet like a proper single star, but he was getting singles matches. So based off what I'm seeing here, being firmly put into the tag picture, I would say Brett is a solid push in 88. Because eventually we know what winds up happening. But for Brett in 88 being the Iron Man, I would say a solid push. Because in this case, he was in there for 25 minutes and 42 seconds, and he was the number one entrant as well. So Bret Hart, a solid push. Next thing we're going to go to is the 89 Royal Rumble, won by Big John Studd at the number 27 mark. Mr. Perfect comes in, and he lasts 27 minutes and 54 seconds. No, pardon me, 27:58, and he was the number 4 entrant. Kurt in 89. He does get a dark match for the heavyweight title against Hogan, but he loses. He gets a lot of wins in 89, so he does get a solid push. Nothing overwhelming, but seeing a lot of like he wrestles Hercules, he kind of a couple of jobbers, wrestles the Red Lobster. The Red Rooster, the Red Lobster. Imagine. But he does get a lot of solid wins, and I think his push is sustained because he's winning a lot and he's winning at tapings. He gets some kind of like whack matches overall. He does get a match against Jimmy Snuka in MSG, which is something. He does get a heavyweight title match, but it is a dark match, and he loses by DQ because it's a Hulk Hogan finish. Does get a Survivor Series match when he wins, but aside from that, no real titles, just kind of doing his thing. So I would, because of his win record, oh man, I would probably put him as a solid push and behind Brett in this case. Now we go on to the 1990 Royal Rumble, won by Hogan at the 25 spot. Ted DiBiase does 44 minutes and 47 seconds as the number one entrant. That's the one thing I notice about these Iron Men and Iron Women. For the most part, they're 1 through 10, sometimes even like 1 through 5, things like that. But Ted DiBiase in 1990 lasts a whole 44 minutes. That's crazy. And he didn't really have that much. By the time he gets to 93, he's pretty much done. Comes back in 07, comes back in 2019. It's just been appearances, really. He does get a heavyweight title match that he loses by DQ in October. Gets pushed pretty well because he's winning a lot. Loses a little bit. He does get another match against the Ultimate Warrior for All Japan. That's interesting. Loses by DQ in April. Gets the $1 million title. Defeats Jake Roberts in a countout for the $1 million title. Because he's the champion against Jake Roberts at Mania. Couple of dark matches here. He does win a lot. I guess you can give the fact that he did have a match overseas, which I thought was pretty cool. Does win a lot. Singles competitor, does get a push. He beats Dusty by DQ at a MSG house show in October as well. And he's in Survivor Series but loses. So nothing too crazy. He does work twice the Survivor Series. That's interesting. He wins and then loses. But nothing major, nothing too crazy. Does get two heavyweight title matches, but loses both. $1 million title around him. So this is one of those things for DiBiase. Not, I would say, a solid push, but behind perfect. I would say, yeah. Solid push. Maybe I'll change my mind a little bit later. But yeah, that's where I would put him. Solid push behind Mr. Perfect. Now, 1991, won by Hogan again at the 24 spot. We get the model Rick Martel coming in at the number 6 position, lasting almost an hour, 52 minutes, 17 seconds. Let's look at Rick Martel in 91. Oh, interesting. So, the junior heavyweight title in Japan, he works, kind of loses a little bit, wins a little bit, working some jobbers, gets a blindfold match in there, but doesn't really do too much. From January, doesn't really work a whole lot actually. January, February, March, April, and then he's gone until August, and then doesn't work until December. A blindfold match here, nah, nothing too crazy. Loses a bit, wins a bit. Gets to defeat Jimmy Snuka at a live event, whatever that. No, loses to Jimmy Snuka at a live event, whatever that means to you. So Rick Martel's 91. I would say I wouldn't even. Maybe there's some improvement, but because probably he was hurt or something along that lines, I would say improvement because he manages to kind of be there, you know? So that's what I would put for Rick Martel. Now, the 92 Royal Rumble, won by Ric Flair at the number 3 spot. At this point, it is the earliest position for a winner at number 3. And also, coincidentally, he is our winner of the Royal Rumble as well. 59 minutes, 26 seconds at the number 3 spot. Let's look at Ric Flair's 1992 World Heavyweight title, World Heavyweight title. He's in the picture, but he's losing by DQ. So he's still the champion. And I think he pretty much, he loses to Bret Hart in December 11th, 1992 for anybody that's interested. And I think this was the title, this was the Royal Rumble for the heavyweight title. And he wins the title, and he's pretty much losing by DQ. He's not getting any proper wins. This is another battle royal, which is won by Sid. He loses the title at Mania, also to Randy Savage. Loses to Randy a bit. Then he fights a couple of jobbers. Loses to Randy. Beats Randy at Superstars. And then he's working Taker for a little bit. Okay, so, I mean, listen, this is as solid of a push as you can kind of get, you know? So, plus, given the position where he was at, to the moon, Alice, for Ric Flair. Now let's look, and because he won the Royal Rumble as well. The 1993 Rumble, won by Yoko at the 27th mark. Our 1993 Iron Man coming in at a whopping 1 hour, 1 minute, and 10 seconds. Bob Backlund at number 2. Let's take a look at Bobby. Couple of wins. He's in the Intercontinental title picture as well, but he's working Shawn on the house shows, on the tours. Fights David Demento, so there's something, you know, maybe that'll bump him up a little bit more. Firmly in the Intercontinental title scene. He's getting pins. He's defeating his opponents by pin for the most part. But firmly in the Intercontinental title picture, even while in this year and in that Rumble. So, secondary, I would say, he's getting a solid push, you know. So I think that's where I'm going to put him, in the solid push rank. For my man Bob Backlund, I would say over DiBiase, because there's consistency there. And just under Mr. Perfect. So solid push for him. Now we get the 1994 Rumble, won by Lex Luger and Bret Hart. Lex Luger won at 23, Bret Hart at 27. But Bam Bam is our Iron Man in this case. And Bam Bam comes in at 30 minutes and 12 seconds at the number 15 mark. Let's see what Bam Bam did in 94. Couple of tags. Yeah, a bunch of tags actually. When he's winning a bit, losing a bit as well by count out, loses to Razor. I mean, he's got a solid push in the sense of he's winning stuff, and even after the Rumble, he's defeating jobbers, at tapings, but doesn't really get a title picture at all. So in this case, I'm probably gonna put him at um, flirted with a good time. That's where I'll put Bam Bam, which isn't bad. And we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll move. 95 won by Shawn Michaels, and he's also the Iron Man in this case at the number one entry position. So I think he's the first one to win at number one and also be the Iron Man at 38 minutes and 41 seconds. Very short Royal Rumble as well. But let's see Shawn in 95, right? Intercontinental title picture, tag title picture. He wins the tag title against Jeff Jarrett in July. And I think he holds it until September. No, for the tag titles. I think he was a two-time champion then, if that's the case. And then oh, that's right. He loses it to Dean Douglas because he forfeited to Dean Douglas because he didn't want to job out to Shane Douglas. He does main event. At least he's he's working for the heavyweight title, and he loses to Diesel in '95. So he does get the Royal Rumble. Iron Man wins and then fights Diesel. Loses though. Working some house shows with Taker. Working Barry Horowitz, and for a lot of the lives, he's working IRS as well. Works against Kama. Not too bad. So this is a pretty solid push overall. Although he peters out a little bit. But he's in the Intercontinental title picture, wins the Intercontinental title, goes to a main event, works the heavyweight title at WrestleMania, which I think is important. So for me, I would probably put 95 for him as a solid push, even above Brett, too, to be honest with you. So solid push given the circumstance for Shawn. And given that he also, won and was the Iron Man in that case. So now we go to 96. Shawn wins again, but he's not the Iron Man. But he comes in at the number 18 spot. Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, comes in at the number 1 spot, lasting 48 minutes and 1 second. So let's look at Triple H's 1996. Firmly in the Intercontinental title picture. Wins the Intercontinental title in October. Working Jake a little bit in your house, but it was a dark match. A couple of jobbers, but he's working Sid. Gets some title matches, wins, loses, working some people. He does get a heavyweight title match against Shawn on a Monday Night Raw. He does also get a match against Bret Hart at a live event. I think it's in India as well. So he's working firmly. And he does win a title. So it's kind of up and down for him. I would probably put him as, it's flirting with a good time in my opinion, but he's definitely over Bam Bam in that case. That's where I would put Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Now 97, won by Austin at the number 9 spot, but also won by Austin as well in the sense of Iron Man, lasting 45 minutes and 7 seconds at the number 5 spot as well. So let's look at Austin's 97. Intercontinental title picture, does get a match. He does get a dark match against Bret Hart and Taker for the World Heavyweight title. In the tag team title picture, as he also won the titles with Dude Love. That's right, I remember this. Intercontinental title, tag title, gets a World Heavyweight title match again at some lives. Any TV? Oh, In Your House. He loses to Taker at In Your House, Cold Day in Hell. He gets yeah, not bad. Not bad. He's in the title picture at In Your House as well. So he's more than flirting with a good time. This is a solid push. And this is Austin in 97. And then eventually he goes and he wins the title in 98. This is, I would say it's even a little bit better than Sean's. So I'm going to put that as a solid push above Sean. It's not bad. It looks really good. Now, of course, the 98 Rumble, Austin wins again at the number 24 spot, but our Iron Man is The Rock at the number 4 spot, 51 minutes and 32 seconds. Entrant number 4. So let's look at Rock's 98. At this point, he's getting crazy pushed. And eventually, he's going to get into the title picture. But he also, this year is when he loses on the TV taping. That's when Tony Schiavone says, "Oh, Mankind's going to win their World Heavyweight title." That'll put a few butts in seats towards the end of December, but it's shown in January. So he does wind up getting the World Heavyweight title as well. He beats Mankind. This is a solid push, man. It's looking really well. Intercontinental. So he goes from the Intercontinental title after the Rumble, King of the Ring, Intercontinental title, and then towards the end of the year, World Heavyweight title. So yeah, that's a solid push. That's to the moon, I would say, even. Now, should I put him in front of Ric Flair? I'd probably say so, yeah. Yeah, I'll say to solid push to the moon for Rock the Dwayne Johnson. Of course, Vince McMahon wins the Royal Rumble and then I think vacates it. He's on commentary at one point during the 99 Rumble. He comes in at number 2. And of course, that's when Austin leaves, goes into the bathroom and gets beat up, which is funny. And Vince also technically is the Iron Man, 56 minutes, 38 seconds. And that's when The Rock comes out. And Austin is distracted and Vince throws him over. So let's see what Vince did. It's probably not going to be a lot, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, it's not a whole lot. But then he does defeat Triple H for the World Heavyweight title, which is pretty funny. He does fight Austin at St. Valentine's Day Massacre. That's the first appearance of the Big Show, Paul White. That's Paul White! He fights Midian on Sunday Night Heat. That's pretty funny. But he's not really working a whole lot, you know? So, but he does get a title, you know? He does get the World Heavyweight title does happen. And he does fight Vince at a great pay-per-view, Armageddon. And I think that's when Stephanie turns on Vince. And then that starts the McMahon Helmsley era. So he's there. You know, I kind of want to say it's improvement. He's not really jobbing out to Hogan, but he's also not a worker. He's not a proper worker. So I'm just going to put him as jobs out to maybe I'll put him as improvement. You know, there's something there. The character development, I think, is also something that's important to note. And now going into the new year, 2000, won by The Rock at the number 24 spot. Test is our Iron Man coming in at 26 minutes and 17 seconds. Andrew Martin, Test, sadly not a long career, only about 10 years. And he didn't really work too much towards the mid to late 2000s for the WWF, WWE now. 6-person tags, hardcore title, European title, hardcore title. He's not a jobber. There is improvement. He's working a lot too. You know, but for the most part, he's getting wins. He's working. He's like lower mid card, sort of lower to upper mid card. He's there. But aside from the hardcore title, he does get a World Heavyweight title match against Triple H, but he loses. But that's pretty much where he is. And then it kind of goes back. So he drops a little bit. So he's not jobbing out, but I would say Test shows improvement over Rick Martel and, of course, over Vince McMahon. Was working, you know, did his thing. couple of 6-person tags. He's in a title picture, but these are lower, jobber type titles. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I would put him. Improvement, yes. Potential, however, nothing too crazy. But he did get 2 title matches, for the WWF title, which isn't too bad. Next we have 2001, won by Stone Cold Steve Austin at the number 27 spot, but our Iron Man is Kane, coming in at 53 minutes and 46 seconds at the number 6 spot. Good job for him. Also, oddly enough, born in Madrid, Spain. Something to kind of, note. But he's in the hardcore title, he's in the tag title. It's a steel cage match. Oh, that's right. Him and Undertaker in this year, they were firmly in the Brothers of Destruction, going for the WWF tag titles, WCW tag titles. He's in the Intercontinental title picture. He's in a lot of sort of upper mid card title pictures as well. Also, oh wow, this is the 2-man power trip as well. At Backlash, they fight Steve Austin and Triple H, which very short-lived duo. He gets a hardcore title. He gets hardcore title match. He wins the hardcore title. So he's pretty much wrapped in gold for most of this year. After the Rumble, him and Undertaker kind of pretty much just tag teams, but they're getting screen time. They're working, big players at this point. The Dudleys are hot. Undertaker's hot. Kane is hot. The Rock, Edge, Christian, Kurt. This is a who's who. Even working players like Rikishi, who was up there. Haku's up. No, Haku's not really up there, but Haku's a bad motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So for Kane, his 2001 looks pretty solid. So I'm guessing what I'm gonna say is he gets a solid push, and it's past Brett in this case because he's just about he's working a lot, working a lot of matches, but more so tag. He's tagging. He's working for tag titles. He's wrestling opponents who have big names, you know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm going to put him, just below Shawn, but he definitely gets a solid push, Kane. 2002, Triple H wins the Rumble at the number 22 spot, but our Iron Man is Stone Cold Steve Austin at the 26:46 mark at entrant number 19. So let us look at Austin's 2002, which is pretty much towards the end of what's going on. He's winning a lot. He fights for the undisputed title, but it's against Jericho. Jericho wins the title, I guess, in this case. Oh, but he's not really working a whole lot, and I think he's out by June because I don't see anything here. So Austin, in this case, I mean, he does work. I think he is champion at this point. Is he champion at all? 2002? I don't think so. No, but he works Booker T a little. Booker T, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho. So he's firmly there. He does have a match against Mr. Perfect, February 25, 2002. So not too bad. He does get to work Hogan on Monday Night Raw, March 11th. So something if anybody's ever interested. But he's kind of working some singles, and after February he's pretty much out of the title picture in this case. So I would say 2002 Austin is flirting with a good time, but he's on the descent, so I'll probably have to put him, just because he worked a title match, he flirted with a good time in 2002, but of course this was the twilight of his career. And he wouldn't 2003, and then he really wouldn't work another match against until Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. So all those years later, that's what I would say for Austin. Now, 2003, won by Brock Lesnar at the 29 spot, but our Iron Man is Y2J Chris Jericho at the number 2 spot, 38 minutes and 54 seconds. So let us look at 2003 Chris Jericho. Undisputed champion at one point, but now he is working He's in the World Heavyweight Championship picture, Intercontinental title picture, a little bit of the tag team. Uh, he's in the WWE Championship too, so he's working a little bit, but he gets kind of pushed down to the Intercontinental title picture, wins the Intercontinental title, loses the Intercontinental title on the same night, which is interesting. I don't know what happened there. Survivor Series tag titles. So in this case, I mean, he gets pushed a little down. Chris Jericho does in 2000 and in this year, being the Iron Man. So I'm probably gonna put Chris Jericho flirted with a good time above Hunter Hearst Helmsley. So nothing too crazy in this case for Chris Jericho in this year. Now Benoit is 2004 and 2005. So we're just going to do him together. He winds up in 2004. He comes in at the number 1 entrant, and Chris Benoit wins. So he goes pillar to post, 1 hour, 1 minute, and 30 seconds at the number 1 entry. So we're going to look at his 2004, and then we're going to look at his 2005. World Heavyweight title picture, tag team title picture. Works Randy Orton for the title, the World Heavyweight Championship as well, World Heavyweight Championship. I think this is the year he won at WrestleMania as well. Yeah, WrestleMania 20. He wins. He holds the title. He's also champion, I think, tag team champion at this point as well. They also run it back at Backlash, and he wins again. But does he lose the title? Yeah, I think he does. Yeah, to Randy Orton at SummerSlam. So he holds the title from in 2004. He holds the World Heavyweight Championship until August, which isn't too bad. So SummerSlam, admirable way to lose. And you do have to wind up putting Randy Orton over at that point. And he gets a rematch the next day and also loses. And then I think that's pretty much... Then the tag team picture goes back into the World Heavyweight Championship picture. But that's pretty much about... Hey, listen, this is solid. You got the championship at WrestleMania. I would probably put this Chris Benoit 04 as a solid push or push to the moon. I'll put tail end of push of to the moon for 2004 Chris Benoit. So not too bad at all. Now we're gonna go to his 2005 outing. Let's see what he does. United States Championship, United States Championship, United States Championship. He's the Iron Man in this case. He begins with a World Heavyweight Championship match, which I think is the Elimination Chamber. Becomes the Iron Man, winning a lot, some tags, losing a little bit as well, not too much. But he's wrestling, and then firmly towards the end of the year in the United States Championship picture. So I would say this Chris Benoit in 05 probably gets a solid push, and I'll put him above Mr. Perfect. Maybe even above Bret Hart in 88. But in 1 year, he kind of gets knocked down just a peg. And that Royal Rumble was won by Batista at 28. So now 2006, Rey Mysterio is the Iron Man, but also wins as well, coming in at the number 2 spot. Rey, 1 hour, 2 minutes. I think that's the longest so far. Yeah, it is. 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 12 seconds at the number 2 spot. Won by him as well. So let's look at 2006 Rey. Let's see how we can justify his wins. World Heavyweight Championship. He loses the title as well, but he also becomes World Heavyweight Champion. At WrestleMania. Solid push. Wow, solid push. And tag team picture. Yeah, this is pretty good. This is actually really, really good. Wins a lot. Working some people. The main players at this point. He does lose to some people as well. But he's working Randy, he's working Kurt at Mania. Does he lose the title at all? Yeah, he does. To Booker in July. This is a solid push, and then I don't think he sees the heavyweight title again that year. But he gets the championship at Mania. I would say, yeah, this is a solid push. I would even say just below solid, to the moon actually, just below Chris Benoit's 04. So that's my Ray. 2007, won by The Undertaker at the 30th spot. But our Iron Man is Edge coming in at number 5, 44 minutes and 2 seconds. Let's look at 2007 Edge and let's see what's going on. He ends the year as World Heavyweight Champion. He's World Heavyweight Champion at this point. Yeah, not too bad. Wow. This is a really good tag team title picture as well. So he gets moved from the tag title picture with him and Randy into the WWE Championship. And then he beats Undertaker on a SmackDown, which isn't too bad. Not too bad at all. Any Mania for him? What was he doing at WrestleMania? Oh, he lost in the Money in the Bank. But he still gets, still works the World Heavyweight Championship. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. I would say this is a pretty solid push overall. Title, heavyweight title. I'm going to put this Edge as a pretty solid push. And I'll probably... This is a very solid push. So, nah, this is to the moon. Because he's getting it. So I would put him just above Ray. Push to the moon. In this case, for 2007 Edge. Not too bad, Edge. Not too bad at all. 2008 Royal Rumble. John Cena comes in at number 30 and wins. Our workhorse, Iron Man, is Batista at the number 8 spot, 37-42. So let's look at 2008 Batista. Let's see what he done did. World Heavyweight title. Loses to Chris Jericho in a steel cage. Oh, that was the match where Vince fined him because they got color. He wins the world title. He loses in a fatal 5-way, I think. Championship scramble. Heavyweight title. WWE Tag Team Championship. Not too bad. This is a solid push. This is a very solid push. And you could even say he's been pushed to the moon a little bit. But I'm going to put him top when it comes to a solid push. You know what I'm saying? Because I think he didn't hold it for too long. That would be my 2008 Batista. 2009, won by Randy Orton at the number 8 spot. Our 2009 Iron Man is Triple H at the 7 spot. Coming in at 49.55. So let's look at Triple H's 2009. Oh, tag champion with Shawn. I think DX reforms at this case. He loses to Cena at Survivor Series with Shawn. He's in the championship picture. He does have the championship, I think, at one point. Does he? Let's confirm this. Yeah, he is champion at WrestleMania, and he defeats Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. And then he kind of gets pushed down. This is a solid push. This is probably even a push to the moon. This might even be Reign of Terror stuff. So he's there. Yeah. This is... I would say Triple H in this time is pushed to the moon still. Maybe... because the tag titles... Yeah. Pushed to the moon. Just under Chris Benoit. And that might change. Who knows what will happen. But not bad for him. 2010, Edge comes in at number 29. But John Cena is our workhorse for 22 minutes and 11 seconds at the number 19 spot. So 2010 John Cena, let's look at you and see what you got going on, brother. Tag titles, WWE Championship. WWE Championship. He works Sheamus a lot. He is champion too. Yeah, this is a very solid push. This is Cena. This is 2010 Cena, so this is like very interesting, very interesting. Oh, he wins the title at Elimination Chamber, but then loses to Batista, so I think he got cashed in. Then he beats Batista at Mania. Yeah, this is. I'm gonna put this one as over Benoit because this is 2010 Cena. You could not stop this dude pretty much, winning and losing, but he's getting TV time, he's getting screen time, he's in battle royals, he's here for the tag titles. Oh yeah, that's right, he was with David Otunga. Working, 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 but he doesn't end the year. He winds up losing the title. Uh in September and then doesn't really see a title picture again in 2010. So that's where I would put him. All right, 2011. We have, oh, this is the 40-man Royal Rumble. Alberto Del Rio wins at the number 38 spot, but our man CM Punk, Chick Magnet Punk, comes in at the number 1 spot. 35 minutes and 24 seconds. He is our Iron Man. So let's look at 2011 Punk. Let's see what's going on. WWE Champion. Pretty much WWE Champion throughout the entire time. This is as solid of a push as you can kind of get. Yeah, he's in the tag title. And then right after, I think right after Mania, once we get into, I think this is Money in the Bank, right? If I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. Yeah, it is Money in the Bank. Yeah, right. So this was, oh boy, you gotta make this. This is one of those to the moon things. I would say maybe even above Cena when he's pushed to the moon. And that was our 2011 Iron Man CM Punk. Solid work. Definitely solid work. 2012 would be The Miz. Let's see what's going on. Intercontinental United States Champion. Intercontinental United States Champion. Solid. And then he's in the WWE Championship picture for a little bit. He's losing though on the live events, so people aren't really. It's just for the house, So he's working. He's doing some stuff, but he's losing a lot. So, but you are in the picture. You are kind of working. So for the Miz in 2012, I'm probably gonna put him as. See, the thing is, he is getting a solid push, and I'd probably put him over Benoit. But he's losing a lot. That's the thing about Miz in 2012. But he's there, you know. You're seeing him, but he's losing a Punk a lot too. So that's my 2012, just above Benoit. Maybe I'll put him above Kane, but I kind of like where he is now. All right, 2013, won by John Cena at the number 19 spot. But Dolph Ziggler is our Iron Man, 49 minutes, 47 seconds. What's funny is 11, 12, 13, and 14, all number 1 entrants that become the Iron Man. And for the most part, pretty much 1 and 2 are gonna, they're gonna be it. Dolph Ziggler lasting 49, 47 in 2013 as the number 1 entrant. Let's see what 2013 Ziggler was doing. This is kind of about it for him. And then everything else would be like JOB status. But he's getting Intercontinental United States Tag Team. He's firmly in the mid card. He did get the World Heavy. No, he beat, but it was by DQ. He did work Del Rio a lot, winning by DQs, which I mean, don't really count. Working Del Rio a lot. But not too terrible. He's working. That's something. He was also heavyweight champion for a little bit, but you know how it is. He cashed in, and then that kind of was about it. But hey, listen, he got a title shot. I would definitely have to put this Ziggler above Brett when it comes to a solid push. Not too bad at all. The 2013 Dolph Ziggler, you got a solid push, my friend. Just above Bret Hart. Now, our number 14 Royal Rumble, Batista won at 28. But we get my man CM Punk, Chick Magnet, Chicago made Punk, at the number 1 spot again. 49 minutes and 15 seconds. So let's take a look at 2014 CM Punk. Let's see what he done did. And that was it. This was his last year. Really nothing. I would even say. I mean, he's winning, sure. Honestly, he leaves after this. This is the night that he leaves. Oh, he fought Billy Gunn, but you know what? I'm gonna put this Punk as jobbing out to Hogan. Nice, our first one. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, he pretty much jobbed out to Hogan and he left. He wasn't even there for the rest of the year. So you, brother, you job out to the Hulkster. 2015, of course, won by Roman Reigns, where they turned The Rock heel, where they turned Rey Mysterio heel, because the fans booed. But he comes in 2015 at number 19 and wins. Bray Wyatt is our Iron Man. At the number 5 spot, 46 minutes and 58 seconds. So 2015 Bray Wyatt, let's look at you, my man. No titles, working though, so far. Intercontinental title, losing though a lot. More than winning. 6-person titles. I think he's with the Wyatts. He's there. He's showing up. I think he's flirting with a good time. But he's working a hell of a lot. And it's a bunch of singles matches losing. You see a lot of defeats right here. Losing, and then he works Kane towards the end. I mean, listen, Bray, 2015. I'm seeing improvement, maybe flirting with a good time. Yeah, I'll put him top end improvement because he is improved, he is working as well. That's what I would say for Bray in 2015. Top of the improvement, C tier. 2016, this was Triple H at number 30. I think this was the second championship Royal Rumble, if I'm not mistaken. Triple H wins, and Roman Reigns is at the number 1 entrance. He gets eliminated by Triple H. I remember this. 59 minutes and 50 seconds for our man Roman Reigns. At this point, he's getting pushed to the moon. Roman. So let's see what happens. United States Championship. Universal Championship. He's there for the US title. I think they tried to put him to the US title so this way the fans wouldn't get any heat. But he loses. Yeah, he's winning. He's definitely winning. I mean, he has the WWE World Heavyweight Championship by the time we get to May, so he defeats Triple H. Yeah, this is a push to the moon. And I would even say that he's above, he's definitely above Chris Benoit. I probably even want to say above Cena, in his push to the moon. So that's what I would say for Roman in 2016. Definitely push to the moon, just below, my opinion, of course. Next, we have 2017 Randy Orton coming in at the number 23 spot, but our Iron Man for 1 hour, 13 minutes at number 2, Chris Jericho. So let's look at his 2017. And he would still be in WWE. US Championship. A good hand, but doesn't really work too much. I would say, and he stops working after July, yeah. So he leaves at this point. A good hand, I would say flirting with a good time, and I'd put him just above Hunter Hearst Helmsley and just below himself in his first Rumble. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Not too bad. All right, and now we are doing a shift a little bit because this is the first time from 2018 where we have both a men's and women's Royal Rumble and men's and women's Royal Rumble winners. Now, of course, for Gunther and Rhea, the jury's out, but we'll talk about that later. For 2018, your men's Royal Rumble winner is Shinsuke Nakamura, coming in at the number 14 spot. And your women's Rumble winner is Asuka at the 25th spot. But our Iron Man and our Iron Woman for this year are Finn Balor, 57.38 at the number 2 position, and Sasha Banks, 54.46 at the number 1 position. Let's see Finn's year, 2018. Winning a little bit, Intercontinental title. He does get the tag titles as well. Intercontinental title, picture, the Iron Man. Universal Championship match. He does get a match against Roman, but that's really about it for this year in 2018. But he's there, you know. He's working some people. He's kind of working like, you know, your Jinders, upper mid card. I think he's firmly solid in the mid to upper to mid card position this year in 2018. So let's put Finn flirting with a good time just above Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Yeah, I like that. Flirting with a good time just above. And now let's see Sasha, now going by Mercedes Moné. For 2018, 6-person tags, 10-person tags. Oh, that's right. Like, she was very notorious for winning and then losing the women's championship. But in this case, she did not win a title. She just worked a lot of 6-person tags. Some singles matches. Worked a little bit. WrestleMania, she was in a Rumble as well. There's a Battle Royal. Worked a couple of matches for the title, but nothing too crazy. 6-person tag. I'll be honest. Given what we know of her, this is probably improvement above. There's some signs of improvement, and I would say above test when it comes to improvement for Sasha. So I'll put her there. Of course, that the 2019 Rumbles. Now, as we move on to that, another men's and women's. 2019 won by Seth Rollins. For the men's side, the female side, Becky Lynch. Seth comes in at 10. Becky Lynch comes in at 28. Our Iron Man and woman are Bianca Belair. No, pardon me. Are Natalya and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins coming in at 43 minutes even. Natalya 56.01. So let's see 2019 Seth and 2019 Natty. Oh, nice. He's there. Yeah. WWE Universal Champion. Universal Champion. Universal Champion. Universal Champion. Yeah, this is solid. This is a push. Solid push. Now, where would I put him? Probably just above 2019 Rollins, just above Benoit is where I want to put him. Although he was there, man. He beats Brock at WrestleMania, too. Was it a better push than Cena's 2010? Fanfare-wise, maybe not, but I think this was also the first match in Mania because Brock didn't want to stay for the rest of the night. I'll begrudgingly put him above Cena in that spot. So that's Seth. Natty in 2019. Let's see what's going on. Women's Tag Team Championships don't mean anything. Losing a lot. Iron Woman. Has won. And in SummerSlam loses in Canada to Becky Lynch. Bret Hart would have been upset about that for sure. She didn't job out. But she is losing. Yeah, you know, what I'm going to do is I'll put her above Vince in improvement. And that's really about it for Natty. Oh, well. Now, 2020. The men's Royal Rumble won by Drew McIntyre at number 16. The women's Royal Rumble by Charlotte Flair at number 17. Our Iron People are Drew McIntyre, the winner, and Bianca Belair, who Bianca Belair is 2020, 2021, and 2022 as well. So luckily we get to just kind of look at her. And we'll see what happens. But, we'll do it by year. So 2020, Drew McIntyre comes in at number 16. 34-11. That was also a short Royal Rumble as well, then, if that's the case. Or at least you knew from 16 on it was going to be Drew. And Bianca Belair, 33 minutes and 20 seconds at the number 2 spot. So not too bad. Let's look at Drew's 2020. Oh, wins the WWE Championship. Nice. Defeats Randy Orton on Raw and successfully defends the title. Is champion this year. Is champion. Yeah, this is really good. Beats Brock Lesnar for the title. This is the COVID year. That's right. Yeah, this is a solid push. I'd definitely put Drew above whatchamacallit? Chris Benoit in this case. Definitely above Chris Benoit because he was kind of the face for that year as well. Now for Bianca, this is her 2020. Working. NXT Women's title. Her and Rhea kind of go back and forth. Loses. Yeah, she's there though. She's solid. She's solid as a rock. So I'm going to say she gets a pretty decent push. She's winning a lot after. But I'm going to say it is a solid push for her, for Bianca in 2020. And I'm going to put her just below Bret Hart. But she's there. She's there, man, for sure. She's definitely there. 2021. Edge comes in at number 1 and wins. Bianca Belair comes in at number 21 and wins. And for the first time, your Iron Man and Iron Woman also are the winners as well. So, of course, 2021, Bianca Belair, number 3 spot, 56 minutes and 49 seconds. Edge, 58 minutes and 28 seconds at the number 1 spot, which is pretty interesting. So, let's look at Edge first. Edge, how was your 2021, man? Oh, that's it. Nothing crazy. He doesn't really work a whole lot. Works a heavyweight title match, Money in the Bank. Works WrestleMania, but loses in the triple threat match. Yeah, I remember this. I mean, this is flirting with a good time, and just under Finn Balor, because at this point, Edge has he came back, fanfare, everyone's excited, but he's not really working a whole lot. You got to be careful. Now for Bianca in 2021, Raw Women's Champion, Raw Women's Champion, Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's, SmackDown title, Raw title. She loses though to Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. But we definitely want to see Mania. Oh, dude, she's firmly in here. WrestleMania, she beats Sasha Banks for the title. Yes, is pushed through the moon, brother. 2021 Sasha getting pushed through the moon. Now, do I want to minimize her championship reign? I mean, in the sense of accomplishment, it's better than Drew, right? So I'm going to put her right here. Solid. Bianca, 2021, solid work. That's what I will say. 2022 Royal Rumble. The men's side, won by Brock Lesnar at number 30, and won by Ronda Rousey at number 2028. But our Iron Man and Woman in 2022 are AJ Styles at the number 1 spot, 29 minutes and 6 seconds, and Bianca Belair at the number 8 spot, 47 minutes and 30 seconds. So what we're going to do is check their 2022s, and we'll see what's going on. So AJ, what'd you do? Intercontinental title, U.S. champion. Loses to Roman Reigns, though, AJ. And he's working. He's working, but it's a bit of a downgrade a little bit. He He is working though, and is quote unquote winning more than he is losing. But he's working dudes, and he's in the title. He's in the second tier title picture. So I would say he's still getting a good solid push. Definitely above. I'll even say above Kane in the solid push range. That's where I'll put him. And of course for Bianca this year, because she had a great 2021. Let's see what 2022 has to give her. She ends the year as Raw Women's Champion. Oh, that's right. She's been on a really good streak. Raw Women's Champion, Raw Women's Champion, Raw. Yeah, this is a push through the moon, man. She's heavily protected. I think she has the title. She beats Becky Lynch. But when does she beat Becky Lynch? Oh, in March. So she goes into Mania. Very interesting, but heavily protected. Heavily protected. WrestleMania, she beats Becky Lynch for the title on night 1. So 2 years in a row, she is heavily protected. And then champion. And then she's been champion so far. Honestly, this is as solid of a push for this Bianca. I'm going to put her... Let's go with... From a women's perspective, I mean, it's solid gold. So I'm going to put her just below Phil. And then we'll go from there. And now, of course, Gunther coming in as the Intercontinental Champion. Rhea Ripley coming in with such fanfare. Mommy, part of a pretty solid stable, very popular. And a lot of fans seem to like her. Solid character, too, finally coming into her own. I would say they're both, I mean, Gunther, previously known as Walter, Intercontinental title, and putting respect back on the Intercontinental title's name. Of course, the 2023 Royal Rumble is won by Cody Rhodes. Rhea Ripley won this Royal Rumble at number 1, Cody at number 30. Our Iron Man and Woman are Gunther. 1 hour, 11 minutes. He goes from number 1 to, and then he's part of the last 2. Rhea Ripley goes from number 1, 1 hour, 8 minutes. I think Gunther, it says here, reported by commentary, 1 hour, 11 minutes, 25 seconds, but WWE recognizes it as 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 40 seconds, which I think is the best effort in a Royal Rumble overall. So congrats to Gunther. And of course, he's been pretty solid as well. So, Rhea, I would say, former champion, but now she's kind of coming into her own. Let's put her at the bottom of Push to the Moon. And of course, Gunther, let's put him as a solid push over Austin. Over 97 Austin. So this is what I think. I like it. So far, so good. We get some good players. Equal amounts of solid pushes to equal amounts of pushes to the moon. Some guys flirt with a good time. That I will say, it's interesting because Austin didn't get a push to the moon in this case, but different circumstances are different because of what winds up happening. So some people get improvements. Overall, I think it's pretty good. Right now, when it comes to wrestlers, you have your top stars. Bianca's a superstar right now. And some people are still there. Some people are kind of gone. Of course, I have a soft spot for AJ Styles because this is AJ Styles, of course. Well, Season's been around for a long time. It can still go. Jericho's been doing wonderful. And a solid entertainer, I would say, more so than what AJ is. But AJ's the better worker overall, especially from his overall pedigree. But Jericho has, better quote-unquote experience. So here it is. Your Royal Rumble Iron Man and Iron Woman. Longest times in the Rumble ranked. So far, The Rock has probably the best, is what I'm giving it as well. But solid, everyone's solid. And the CM Punk, when he left the Rumble, that was it. So, you do have to put jobs out to Hogan. I was going to put Vince there, but, there's stronger character there. And, he was a mainstay on TV, which is why I wanted to say improvement. But here it is, ranked from 1988 to 2023. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for listening to this very, very long video. Stay tuned, more of shit like this to come, hopefully. Peace.